Can you let Shehu speak now, please? He's back. Is it there?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm here.
All right. So Shehu, we're going to just put our devices close. I'm going to get my device really close to you, and so that we can have you. But your camera is very clean. Oh, what did you do to it?
It's not my camera, it's racism. You know, the way Europeans have programmed the lens of these their cameras. Once you're in their country, it is programmed with the atmosphere of their country. Once you are here, everything just seems clearer, nicer, you know, automatically.
My background looks better than yours.
Okay, if you say so, Pressy.
Yes, so.
If you say so.
This is the crowd room, man. This is the world. But welcome. So we've been waiting for you, and I hope most people who have joined us across all kinds of platforms can be listening to you right now. We have Chichi, who is our moderator for the night. I want her to take it from here. Chichi is on Twitter Space, though. I don't think she's on Instagram. Except, is it possible for Chichi to go to Instagram? Chichi, they say you can join Instagram.
I am on Instagram.
Okay.
Yeah, I've requested. I'm just waiting.
All right. So so we're going to go live with you. Yeah. Yes, we're going live with you. We're going live with you. Has she done that? Accept. Okay. All right.
Can you guys
see me?
Yes, we can see you. We can see you. You're welcome. So, as a moderator, just take it away.
Alrighty. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. I can hear you loud.
Alrighty, great. All right, I would love to welcome Mr. Seun Kuti. And
I think you need to get rid of one of your devices. I think there is like echo from. I think you're speaking into two devices, so that might be a problem.
All right, I think everybody can hear me now.
But you're still echoing though.
I'm not sure why I'm echoing.
That stopped.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right. I would love to welcome, let's go straight to business. I love to welcome Seun Kuti, who is an Afrobeat artist, a Pan-African thinker, and a defender for truth, carrying forward for the legacy of Fela with boldness and clarity. We welcome you so much, Fela Kuti, and I'm honored to be here as well, live with you. So please take it away. What's your submission? What do you have for us?
Oh, well, I'm very happy to be part of the conversation today, you know, and I just want to make a little correction there. You said defender of truth, you know. I'm just on the side of the truth. You know, none of us have the capacity, strength, resources, knowledge, wisdom to defend the truth. You know, the truth defends itself. You know, you just have to pick if you're on its side or not. You know, the truth needs no defense. Just that we live in a very unjust world. But, you know, that aside, I'm happy to join the conversation and speak to young people on how we as African people, especially young African people, you know, can re-embrace Pan-Africanism as a solution, you know, to the African question. You know, what is next for us as African people? Do we even necessarily want to still be African people? Do we need to be African people for the next step to be taken in our lives? I think these are all legitimate questions, and they are all valid in their own. Whatever position you take is valid in its own right. You know, what is lacking is conviction. You know, what is lacking is conviction. And we as African people, I feel to a certain extent, know what is going on. We know the truth, you know, but do we have the courage to stand on the side of the truth? Do we have the courage to act on the things that we already know to be true? That's why I said, you know, we can't defend the truth, or we just have to decide on which side of it, which side we want to stand. Do we want to stand on the side of what is true, or we want to continue living in make-believe? You know, and make-believe really for me as African people is that belief that we can become that which oppresses us. Be it in class interest, be it in racial interest. African people, for some reason, believe that the solution to their oppression is to become oppressors themselves in different ways, shapes, or form. The one that political oppression does not work for will rush to religion to go and oppress from there. You know, when all that one doesn't work, you know, they resort to crime and try and oppress from there. And it is also not our fault as African people. It is because we are left with no example of what it means to live in our way. The African way, our way, which is the way. Africans have this huge disadvantage that our leaders have been enemies of the powerful people of this world. So for that reason, it is not their death that is the worst thing that happened. People die every day, as me and my friends like to say. You know, when you try to come and cry to me that somebody that people die every day, B. That aside, it is not their death that is the greatest tragedy, but their erasure from our consciousness. The erasure of our great leaders from our consciousness has removed the example of what it means to be living in the way that will liberate us, the way that will elevate us. All that was left is this maladjusted, misbehaving elders that we have. You know, that's the word, maladjusted and misbehaving. You know, as Ikwe Amra called them in his book 2000 Seasons, ostentatious cripples. And I think that is the greatest definition, because to be crippled is not to be hindered in mobility or hindered in speech or sight. The greatest of disabilities is the crippled spirit. When you become so small that you will have billions of dollars, but all you can do is look for what to buy with it. That you have removed from yourself the capacity to do what $1 billion should do in your nation. You have reduced yourself to having $1 billion and being only able to buy what other people are making and chase after the latest trends like little children. To not be able to rise above your ambitions as a teenager. The same thing you dreamt of when you were in high school, to buy a car, to build house, to marry wife, to chase girls. So you have become a billionaire now. You are doing it billion times. You have not left. You have refused. You have crippled your spirit at that point that it has not left. It can't grow. To hide this deformity that manifests itself. So that deformed spirit manifests itself in our society in so many ways among our elders. You know, the so-called elites of Africa, both business and political. It manifests as treachery because they are traitors of their people. It manifests as greed. It manifests as gluttony. When somebody is coming on TV to say food is falling from somebody's mouth when he's rushing food. So you should understand. And this gluttony, forget the Russian jollof rice food that they talk about. Remember during COVID that the whole world donated food for Nigerians, for poor Nigerians, the people that don't have anything, gari, indomie, rice, everything. People with private jets, people that already own private jets, were stashing indomie, hiding indomie from the poor. Hiding indomie from poor people. I mean, what else do we have to say when you get to that level of deformed, when your spirit is that deformed? So the elimination from our consciousness of the true examples of what it means to be an African. African people are lucky that they have Fela, who also came in the music world and through music became popular through entertainment, which is easier to consume. But the core of our message, the strength of our power, our real strength, the core of our power is in our intellectuals, the message of the intellectuals, which is not as interesting as the message from the entertainers. European people try to corner me. Let me put it this way for us to understand. Somebody said to me, one journalist said, "Oh, Sheun, your father said music is the weapon of the future. And looking at how Africa is right now, can you say that what your father has said has come to pass? That music will liberate everybody?" So you see that leap, music is the weapon. And then suddenly somebody leaps to say music will liberate everybody. Many of us here are hoping for our musicians to become our liberators. We are wishing for our actors and our influencers to become our liberators. We mistake talent for intelligence. One can be... Wait, am I still on this live? Can you guys hear me? Because Shore's this thing has stalled, and so has Chichi's.
I can hear you.
Okay, good. I just wanted to be sure I was still... a lot of people mistake, skill and talent for intelligence. Skill and talent are their own things, and intelligence is its own thing as well. Many talented people are very stupid. Many skilled people are very stupid. I always use Ben Carson as an example. Let me not use a Nigerian organization who is looking for fight. But look at Ben Carson. With a heart surgeon, one of the most skilled surgeons in the world. But one of the most stupid human beings to walk on 2 feet. Your skill and your intelligence are two different things. Especially human emotional intelligence that links us together as human beings. So what am I trying to say here? That many of these are our great leaders that would have showed us how to be African people. That are the true examples that we should look at and see how we should move today towards our liberation, are largely removed from our consciousness. And it is not enough for this sinister system to remove them. That is not enough, because they understand that power abhors a vacuum. Africans will never accept that they don't have heroes. Africans will never accept that they never had leaders. So when you remove the real ones, you must, more importantly than removing the real leaders, is to replace them, to put in their place fake leaders, to put in their place fake heroes that you spend time emulating and worshiping and following that will not lead you to any true liberation. So I always say to people, it is our duty as young African people to do the intellectual work of discovering our true leaders. You understand me? To discovering who our true heroes were. And in many of their works, they have solved a lot of the problems that we go through today. So, if music is the weapon of the future, and Fela is right, in conclusion, really, let me not take too much time, because this is important. Because this is the point I'm really trying to make for young people. Pan-Africanism or no, I don't. Because at the moment, I ally with Pan-Africanists, socialists. This is my political alignment. It will forever be my political alignment. But I'm not an extremist in ideas or thoughts at all. I'm willing to work across all kinds of board. I mean, I'm willing to work across the board with all kinds of players, as long as everybody is interested in our development. So what am I saying? In building our nation, we must not mistake modernization for development. So if music is the weapon, it don't mean that all of you need to be looking for musicians and famous people to liberate you. That's not what that statement means. Music is the weapon, but it doesn't mean that music is the battle. Fela never said music is the battle. Fela said music is the weapon. That weapon is used in a battle. That battle is the battle of our liberation. The music being a weapon means that it can inspire a world for our liberation, but only if our doctors are interested in our health. See, music, conscious music, political music becomes a weapon in the hands of a doctor that is in the battle of restoring healthcare in our country, that is interested in healthcare in our country. Music becomes a weapon in the hand of the lawyer that is interested in justice for our people, that wants to fight for justice in our country. Music is a weapon in the hands of journalists that seek the truth to share with our people. Music can only be a weapon in the hands of teachers that are interested in knowledge, public administrators that are interested in development of our nation, and so on and so forth. Entertainment and music is not where you find Pan-Africanism. It's where you find inspiration to strengthen your Pan-African journey. We are all the heroes in this story. In the Pan-African story, at least, we are the heroes. But we must be interested in battle. And there's no amount of, I can only spark the interest for you. I can inspire. But we must all be willing to do the work, to be engaged. Our ostentatious cripples have, instead of telling us this, given us the opposite in the name of education. That education is a weapon in your hand for you to go in the world and look for some money in your pocket. For the doctor to look for money in his pocket. For the lawyer to look for money in his pocket. For journalists to look for money in his pocket. Your you think all these things are simple, just harmless songs. But these songs are drilled into our heads as children. These things that we repeat in our schools as we grow, as we've been growing, that they've taught us to eliminate the we from our psyche. That everything that we have as African people is just to be rich, to make money, to pay bills. We forget that our nation's development cannot be divorced from our national talent. And that is simply what Pan-Africanism means. Pan-Africanism simply means national development cannot be divorced from national talent. That is what Pan-Africanism means. That your talent is dedicated to the development of your people. You know, thank you very much for having me join, Pressy in this live. It's been a long time I sat in the same room with my man here. Exactly. Let me you ever see that? Exactly. It is why we will have a SOWORE among us. And they'll be comparing him to a politician like Peter Obi. It is that machinery. I'm telling you, it is that machine in our minds. I'm telling you, that has removed, it has crippled us. So we all think that we should be crippled. We all feel that we cannot fix our country, that we need to look to this only the big man can do it. Only people with money can have idea. Only people with money can have solution. Only people with money can, and it is these people with money that are broken that they call you broke. These are the real broken people because all they do with their money is to, brothers and sisters, the kind of money they say Dangote alone has, do you know how many states that can develop in our country? At least put children on the foot map of the future. So we must either agree with capitalism and Eurocentrism that says that our national resources as Africans is to better the life of a few people, or we agree with Pan-Africanism and socialism that says no, the resources of our land is to better everybody. People always ask me, Pan-Africanist socialism, what does it? It doesn't mean you will live poor. It doesn't mean we want bad things. It doesn't mean, look at where I'm staying. I like soft life too. But the difference here is we want it for everybody. We want it for everybody. We want everybody to access it. We don't want it to be a status symbol, that a good life becomes a status symbol over your brothers and sisters. That the fact that they cannot eat and you can eat is why you are better than them. That cannot be the value system that decides who a great man or no great man or a good man. No, this cannot be how we see success anymore. And that is where the battle line is drawn, really, in our political ideologies in Africa. And that's why I align myself with this man, because he's the only politician in Nigeria that is a Pan-Africanist and a socialist.
Wow. Let me just welcome you once again. Chichi, are you there? Oh,
Yes, I am.
Yeah, so we've been waiting for you, and of course, nobody will ever be disappointed with your presentation, even though you're just landing from virtually one city to another.
Yeah, so I know they come from Italy today.
You see? So, and that is what Pan-Africanism should be about, is that Africa too must become a continent where you can travel from South Africa to Nigeria or from Senegal to Nigeria without going to France first.
Imagine, it's easier for me to travel from Lagos, from Paris to Ivory Coast than to go from Lagos to Ivory Coast too.
Yes.
It's easier.
I know. So, because to go to any African country from Nigeria, you have to look for odd days to travel. Some is Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Some flights are on Tuesdays. You just choose it. Yes.
I mean, it's such a disgrace.
And
some people within those countries have private jets on their own.
Yes.
The country does not have airline. Individuals will say that they have airline company, but the country cannot afford it. But you, one person inside that country, what the whole country cannot gather to do, you, one person,
can do it.
can do it.
And it was as if you were here when I was talking about Pan-Africanism also, that it has become so presented in a way that is esoteric. So the Pan-African that I know is the same Pan-African I know when I entered University of Lagos in 1989. He has to look a certain way. His beard has to look a certain way. He has to be speaking a certain way. They are not democratic. They are not democratizing the idea of Pan-Africanism. But my, the beginning for me for a Pan-African Africa is that of integration. That Africans must destroy artificial borders the same way Europeans themselves have done it. We must be able to integrate. I must be able to live from here.
OAU before they formed EU now.
Yes, exactly. No,
OAU was formed before EU. EU has concretized before OAU.
It was when they saw the way OAU was working that they stole the idea and went to EU.
We inspired their own EU now. OAU inspired EU. When
they wanted to start when they wanted to start EU, they didn't start EU. They started building tunnels to connect their countries. And then they were fighting Africans that were building modern roads and ensuring that military leaders were just mowing them down. If you try to invest in your country,
the Nkrumahs, the Lumumba, the Sekou, especially Sekou, yes. They dealt with Sekou so hard.
Yes, Sekou.
Young Africans must study that man.
Yes, look at there's a motorway in Accra that Nkrumah built. Is still there till now. The ones that were built after him have all been washed up. So Nkrumah is a criminal because he was building road. Nkrumah was saying, this cocoa that we are making here, we must also
process it here.
The factory that is producing chocolate is here. That was his crime. Suddenly they said, Nkrumah is a thief. And then he went and got all these military gangsters.
Achampong and Afrifa and all of them. And Busia.
All of them. They are never in short supply. So, and it's like what you are saying about Nigeria also. Same thing I've always said. Nigeria doesn't have an airline. You understand? Now, the presidential fleet of Nigeria has more aircraft than Air Rwanda. Instead of them to start airline with the 737 that the president was using before he went and bought this jumbo jet, they have now put it on sale in Switzerland. At least, can't we start an airline with that one?
I can bet you is one of them that will still buy it.
And they probably already bought it. So
yes, it's already bought. I'm sure they're just waiting.
They went and refurbished it with huge. Whenever they want to sell something to themselves, they will use public money to refurbish it first.
And I mean,
they have refurbished this with huge money. And now, suddenly, we found out 2 weeks ago that it's on sale in Switzerland.
Have you forgotten when Okonjo-Iweala wanted to sell our lights? How much he used to refurbish it and how much he sold it?
Yes. So they are suddenly, I'm saying to everybody who's listening here, can't we start our own airline with that presidential jet that Tinubu was using before he went and bought the jumbo jets? That can be the starting point now. Instead of going to Ethiopia Airline to go and get a fake jet.
This thing about
this one is already painted in Nigeria color.
Just how they will use
and put seats there. Let it be running 5 times to Lagos, Kabu, and let it be the cheapest. Abi? Because it has already been refurbished and it's a modern plane. It has all the equipment and gadgets, it has the best toilet, best sound system in that plane. You know how much is invested in it now. But now, the accoutilators are trying to sell it.
Anything I think one of them will still buy it. One of them will still buy it on cheap.
I'm sure.
I'm telling you, I know that one. For them to
No
have
doubt,
done that
but
one.
that one you don't need Babalawo to tell you now. Somewhere that is the advertisement is just to fulfill all righteousness. They have sold the chaff. I'm
Somebody's
very sure.
about to be a private jet owner of 737. Ah,
Yes, and you know that the person who purchases 737 for Obasanjo is the chairman of their new coalition, David Mark. David Mark is the person who bought this 737 under Obasanjo. Is the one who purchased all the Falcons and the G4s, Gulfstreams for Jonathan. And each time they want to buy a new jet, they will claim that the thing develops. And I was like, if a plane is flying from US and developed a fort over the Atlantic, and how is it that it was able to get to Nigeria? But that's how
it's
they do it.
prayer. It's by prayer. Did you hear Wike's prayer in his own
They
plane?
will pray. Yes.
His
So
prayer.
it's always it's very interesting. But there was a question before you came about how to make Pan-Africanism sexy for Gen Z. You know, I've heard you say it many times
Gen Z, they
about
are not
this
ready for
idea of
it.
sexualizing generations. You know, and I keep asking, when you are Gen Z and when they finish with all the alphabets, what are you going to become?
They've gone back
So
to A. They are Gen Alpha now.
no, they've started A already now.
Yeah.
I think they are back already. The people they call alpha male is Gen A now.
No, there's
So
Gen Alpha now. My daughter, they are in Gen Alpha.
so they will just be circulating you from from alphabet to alphabet because you are just part of a social experiment. You know, but what is a Gen Z? Is a person that doesn't eat, he eats. Maybe it's just a person who doesn't have a job but who is surviving. That's what they call Gen Z. And
Do we think
yeah,
about making America, Pan-Americanism or American exceptionalism, as they say, and
yeah,
sexy to white children, or Eurocentrism, sexy to European kids? Nobody has to do these things. It is embedded in their education.
yes.
The
Well,
reason
I
why we
spoke
have
about
this
that
conversation
before you
is
came. That's
because
why I said it as if we made this consultation before you came. Because
it's because
the
it's because
bombardment is from education first of all.
yeah, it's because Pan-Africanism is removed from power in Africa. Our way, which is the way, is not backed by any political power. It is powered strictly by the love and the toil and the imagination and energies of those of us that have not lost our way, that are still of the way, that are in the path. That's why it is called the struggle, Baba. It is not called the comfort or the relaxation, or the holiday or the vacation. It's not even called the work. It's called the struggle. You understand? And I think that's the reason, because for me, all it takes is as soon as we begin to now bring our way into political power, the mass education of our children in Pan-Africanism and Afrocentrism would naturally eliminate this need of having to sell Pan-Africanism or make it sexy. Why would I have to make Pan-Africanism? Pan-Africanism is not a brand that we need to sell to anybody. See, that's what I'm saying, that our elders have failed us as young people. So that lack of education has, the kind of education we have, the indoctrination rather that we have, has completely commodified everything in our psyche. Everything is a commodity, because for them, nothing is more important than validating what the white man wants from us as Africans. We are monkeys. All we want to do is consume. All these stereotypes is the job of our leaders to make it true.
Yes.
So that's why, how much? I think I have some money here. Not here. So that's why they continue to miseducate us as African people, as young people in Africa. So we don't really have that backing of our elders in knowing what it means, in being able to move our culture forward, So this commodification aspect of Europeans, because it's also their job to make us forget that this capitalism that all of them are running after, our first contact with it commodified us as human beings. Capitalism to Africans has been nothing but commodification of every aspect of existence up until the aspect of human life. And the part of us that could not be commodified, they sought to destroy and eliminate and erase our history. They couldn't commodify our history. So Africans have no history. They are monkeys, they are savages. Our religious systems, our spiritual systems, which they couldn't even comprehend, still cannot comprehend till today. Is devil worship, is satanic worship, is ritual, is this one. Our societies, the relationship we had, our familial units, which they take the key here, but take the key. Our familial units, all the things they could not commodify, they trivialized. Polygamy, you are doing this one, your tribes. That's the one. These tribes, nation of people reduced to tribe. What is the meaning of who is a tribe? A whole nation of people reduced to tribes. So yeah, I now see that we as well have bought into that of ourselves, and that which we too cannot commodify about ourselves, we say is not important. You understand? So that's why Jay-Z will be telling you Pan-Africanism is not sexy. Because you think Pan-Africanism can be commodified because of you. Come and sell it to you as a product, as a brand that will make you look cool when you practice it and look hype. So I think that is the wrong way for them to think that they're going to meet with what is going to save you. How can you be telling we come and sell your savior to you? You want to commodify your savior. The way they have commodified their Jesus too and their Muhammad. If there was no commodification of religion, I'm not even sure Nigerians will understand it. If they couldn't go to church and every aspect of it commodified, I'm not sure they will be able to understand it. Or mosque. I'm not sure they'll be able to understand what they are doing there. Because this is the box that they have put us as African people, that our leaders, our rulers, these useless elders, failed elites, as this guy called them, Frantz Fanon, this petty bourgeoisie must make honest, make true, and project on all of us. That's why I said all they can do is buy things. Give him $1 billion, $10 billion. Now plane he go on buy. My favorite plane, my favorite Rolls Royce. I want more header. That's all. That is all. So there's no commodification. There's no way to sell Pan-Africanism to anybody. It is not something that can be commodified. And I will even implore young African people to look around you and embrace those things that cannot be commodified, because it is where our power lies. That's where our liberation lies. And that's why they distract us and try to devalue those spaces that they cannot commodify. Those spaces, about those things that cannot be commodified about African people, is what gives African people power. So what do they want? They want you to not look at those things. They want you to devalue those things. They want you to think those things are useless to you.
Chichi, are you? Yeah, are you there?
Yes. So we'll start taking questions if that's okay with both of you. So the very first question for Seun Kuti is:
Now, no,
How
all
does
protocols.
MOP?
Wait. Let all protocols observe. Presi has to take the first question.
I've been taking questions. I've been taking questions for a long time.
Okay.
So I am yielding to you.
Over to you. Okay.
I've been here like 2 hours before you arrived, so you have the. I'm yielding to you, please. Don't worry.
All right. I'll start with the first question. How does MOP plan to engage young people beyond the elite online crowd, especially those in rural and the different? Oh my God. Okay, I'm missing my words.
It happens. It's only English. No mind them.
It's because you are
Yes.
speaking English instead of speaking your real language.
No mind them. We are all trying here.
Yes.
Okay. So yes, especially in those in rural and obviously disadvantaged communities.
Oh well, one of the things about MOP is that our party is very anti-elitist, so we really frown on only online mobilization, because you have to understand that online reach in Nigeria is very minimal. Very few people are online in this country, in our country. Most of the things people hear happening online is secondhand. The data is there, you know. The data is there. How many people have internet? How many subscribers they all have combined? Is it up to 50 million in a country of 200 and something? The price of itself, how many people can be on there? So we pride ourselves in also being an on-ground political movement. I myself have been on ground in many rural areas in Nigeria working for MOP, but not like Shosha. Should they try? But yeah, MOP as an organization, we are on ground as well, and we believe in that kind of mass mobilization, because one of the tenets of the movement of the people is that we believe that the professionals of Nigeria have a huge role to play in the liberation of Nigeria. So that being said, we believe that it is okay. So this is where some esoteric aspects come into our ideology, right? We believe that there's a reason why those of us that have been able to have some comforts within oppression have been given that opportunity by the ancestors, and it's not to laugh and think we are better than our brothers who are still locked out of this world in darkness, but to bring the light and build the bridge to them, to reignite the conversation that has allowed us as African people break from commodification and colonization into human again. So from this human aspect, we must together now retrace, or not retrace, rediscover together what it means to be African people. It is a conversation we must have with the people, but they cannot afford to start a conversation. Not because they don't have the vocabulary or the intelligence for it, but we live in a world where they have to be able to also afford it. So we have to be the ones to build those platforms so that our intelligence can merge to defeat the situation that we are in. That's one of our tenets. So for us, that's one of the most important things in building our party, and then we're not really geared towards youth education. We are geared towards mass education, mass political education, not only for young people, but I don't believe in this youth thing. Let me be honest, that a lot of people think youth is an ideology. The youth, like as if, just because somebody is young means he has good intentions, or means he knows what he's doing, or wants to even do anything at all. Youth is a demographic. It is not an ideology. So I cannot bank my political faith on a demographic. A man that is a youth on this political cycle, he will not be a youth in the next political cycle now. So what am I supposed to do? Discard him? chase him away? I don't understand. So what we have is a mass education program for everybody because both youth, both adults, we are all lost in the same place right now. No nation is built by young people. I've not seen it alone. Every nation is built, as I say, by the experience of the old and the energies of the young, and we must together find a way to, but the youth and the adults must want the same thing, and the youth and the elders must want the same thing for their society. We must have a conversation where we have agreed on where we are going, and this is what culture is. That's why Nigeria doesn't have any national culture. The cultures we have are our ethnic cultures from our different zones that we're from. The nation itself has no culture, and it's because the nation is not developed. We have not had that conversation. It is in the and Franz Fanon points this out very well. It is the process of national development that national culture is created. So I'm ready to begin that process. We just need more Nigerian professionals on board. I asked the question in one of my lives one day. I said, where are the billionaire Pan-Africanists? Are you trying to tell me that this whole of Africa, there's no real true billionaire Pan-Africanists willing to back a political movement to bring Pan-Africanism to power? That's how you understand that everybody with wealth in our continent is against us. And we must find a different way to unite as people. As a people, against these people, they are against us, for sure. So, yeah. Chichi, are you still there?
I'm here, yes.
Okay.
I'm on X and I'm
Okay.
on Instagram.
Okay. Me too, I'm on Instagram. All right, I'm also on Instagram. That's what I'm supposed to say.
I want to correct Mr. Shiliza. You made a generalization that every brilliant person is foolish or stupid, something like that.
No. I said, no, that's not what I said. I said talent doesn't mean intelligence.
So I would prefer to say it is sentiment rather than.
No. I said talent and skill doesn't necessarily equal to intelligence. That in fact, many of the talented people I know are very stupid.
My questions are actually. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, so that's what I said. I said talent and skill doesn't necessarily mean intelligence. Then I went on to say that, in fact, many of the talented people I know are very stupid. I didn't say that talent equals stupidity or whatever like that. No.
You have said, "Oh my God, yeah." So my initial question for Mr. SOWORE was that, having listened to him and myself being a centrist and a right-leaning centrist, so my question to him was that, what is his stance on the dissipation of our culture? Because we cannot move forward for it, trying to sensitize the youth without appealing to our cultural conservatism in Nigeria, Africa at large, which, in relation to Africanism, is one of the key factors of Africanism. So my second question is that we cannot have.
I'm sorry, but wait. Let's do it one by one. Let me answer the first one.
Combined effort of both the leaders and the population.
Jamino, hold on.
Yeah.
Wait, I'm not good at answering multiple questions, and your question is quite long.
Okay, one question at a time. One question at a time.
Yeah. So the first one is that where does Pan-Africanism lie in our cultural conservatism? Am I correct in saying that? That's the question.
I can't hear him correct. I can't hear him well from this side on.
Okay, can you ask that first question again clearly, please?
Oh,
I want to be sure that that's what I heard.
When you were speaking, it wasn't a question. I was just trying to make a stance. When you were speaking, you said most brilliant thoughts are fools. And I was trying to.
No, I didn't say that. You keep saying I said that. I didn't say that. Wait.
Okay.
You keep saying I said that. I did not say that.
And
I repeat, let me repeat to you what I said. I said talent and skill doesn't necessarily mean intelligence. That many people mistake talent for intelligence or skill for intelligence. And I said it's not the same. And I now went on to say that many of the talented people I know are very, very stupid. That is what I said.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I disagree with. Because the book is driven by sentiment, but that's fine. I just trying to say my thought actually. So my first question was that you are an Africanist, and
Yeah.
Mr. Sowore is from what I've listened to him, because he has some thought about legalizing marijuana and all of this liberal kind of movement, including his answer to some of the questions. So
you don't think that marijuana is Pan-Africanism?
That's why I kind of give like.
That's not liberal. The best cannabis was found in Africa. The first person with the trace of cannabis in her body was actually found on the continent of Africa 3,000 years ago. A pregnant woman who was treating her pregnancy with cannabis. I think the person was found between Uganda and Kenya. I'm not exactly sure. 3,000 years. The person was on, exhumed and found when they carbon dated the body. She had been around for 3,000 years, and one of the things that her pregnancy contained was cannabis. So to think that cannabis is a Western idea is strange to me. So
I gave you like a background.
Okay.
I'm a centrist. I'm exactly the same.
No, I understand. But you say you're a centrist, which is fine. But you're also making this position on my side as if my position on legalization of cannabis has something to do with being a liberal. I said that's not correct. That is actually a Pan-Africanist idea. Because we are the ones who started growing weed. We've been using weed before the white man ever existed. I'm talking about cannabis.
No, I mean, I want him to finish his question on our. I always like answering cultural questions.
Talk about the LGBTQ and your perspective.
Because I think that's the one you want. I think that's what you wanted to ask you about LGBTQ. So go ahead and ask the question directly to him.
Yeah, ask the question.
He, as a Pan-Africanist,
yes,
is not going to support that. Because
how did you know?
Why won't I? Why are you so sure?
It includes the unification of Africans, both home and outside of the continent of Africa. And it involves as well the promotion of African culture. And that is why my question, number one.
But wait, first of all, I'm sorry to say, I don't think you are that qualified to speak on African culture to that extent. To say African culture, we are in a process of cultural rediscovery as African people. Many African people are African people by name and genotype only. What it means to be African has been long removed from our psyche. And together, if we are willing, we can rediscover this thing. you know. But wearing agbada doesn't make you an African man.
Because I
haven't even get my points actually. I was trying to say those things because these are the views of the folks that you will reference, like Kwame Nkrumah, Julius Kambarage Nyerere. These are some of their views. So my own question is, what's the perspective of Mr. Sowore to the desecration of our culture? Because I see him, he was fighting against some of the stands made by the addressing of the students in the university and some of his views as well.
So, if the question is for me, and one of it is maybe the last question, the one you haven't asked is my position on
Desecration of our culture.
dress code, right?
You
If
said
you want to talk about dress
the
code,
desecration of our culture, you said,
and you want to talk about our culture, you have to also talk about. You also have to understand that how people dress, and Shemun just mentioned it, has nothing to do. Is wearing agbada or dressing properly, as you describe it, because they think if you wear three-piece suit, you are properly dressed. That's not a dress code. That's a dress code of the elite. That's how they choose how people should dress. And it's never happened before that how people dress define how they think
it's
or
Europeans that
their
brought that
character.
thinking now.
And that's why you've seen my position on university dress code, because it is rooted in the fact that the people who are making the decision on how students dress have deviated from the reason universities were set up. Maybe because they can no longer organize the universities to achieve the purposes for which the universities were set up. They now
Exactly.
started introducing distractions. You should dress this way because they don't want to innovate. They don't have any ideas left. All these vice chancellors have nothing left to offer.
Governor
So
that said they should shave people's head with dreadlocks.
yes. So
Because
instead
suddenly
of them,
dreadlocks is not African hair.
yes,
That's the problem.
instead of them
Because
to be bringing, even instead of them to be innovating in medicine, instead of them to have philosophical ideas that can advance Africa, they just bring scissors and clippers to the
I see
classroom.
they are fighting for culture.
Yes,
But
and that's not
who,
culture.
who gets to
If you really
choose?
want to,
No, but Baba, why do you get to choose? Do you think culture is something you get to pick and choose how you participate
exactly.
in?
So is a vice chancellor a custodian of culture? It
Exactly.
is, in fact, if the universities ought to be the place where there is
Culture
a
is
constant
questioned.
definition of culture. It's a place of study. I was telling somebody, and I'll repeat it here. If you want to talk about dress code of Africans, we are closer to nakedness than anybody else. And the reason is weather, is geography. So
Africans
we
don't
can't.
wear clothes.
Yes,
G-string now, G-string African man they wear before now. Look how those
yes.
South African
Sharon,
bushmen, hunters, G-string now
if
you
you
go
look
wear
at
now.
Yoruba culture, we wear clothes that have space in them. Bante, the one that we tie around our waist, is because the weather, we have to dress according to our weather and where we find ourselves. So the idea of wearing turban is not an African culture. Are you getting my point?
Imagine somebody wear.
Yes, it's not an African culture. So the idea that a culture is defined by what the politicians have decided is how to dress, that's not culture. And the university that is defining how people should dress, or who is working, the vice chancellor is walking around with a clipper to cut somebody's hair that they call dreadlocks, or they are interested in what Yorubas used to call bantel, is what you call bomb shots now, or what they call bomb shots. The university lecturers cannot control their libido. That is the reason why they are shifting the blame to the ladies who are dressed in certain ways or men. It's actually very, very, very sad that any university in Nigeria or anywhere on the continent of Africa is focused on how the kids who are going to university are going to address and not how to learn. So if you grow up in a village, like I grew up in my village, and we in secondary school when we go to the lake, the girls are topless. That is, we don't have we're not concerned about it because that's how we grew up. We don't even look at them twice. But if the university has nothing to offer, they will be concerned about the sizes of bras of or how the girls look or which bomb shots they wear and all kinds of rubbish. That tells you that the universities have lost their way. The universities in Egypt that built all those big pyramids, the people who designed those things, those physics people, the chemistry people, the biology people in Egypt, did you see in any text how they define how people dress? And don't you see all the gods that were found, even the mummies, they were virtually naked because that's how Africans dress from the time immemorial. But when you don't know these things and people have mixed religion with what they call culture, they have turned African culture upside down and they are telling you that that's a culture. That's a
This is
culture.
my point exactly. People that don't even practice African culture.
Yes.
Who is practicing African culture that has the audacity to come and say they are speaking for African culture? It's only when they want to bring violence or oppress, beat their wife, beat their children, demand respect that they don't deserve. Suddenly, everybody is an African.
Yes.
But in every other aspect of their life, they are
There's
Arabs and
nothing.
Europeans. Nothing about them is African. But once it's time to go and oppress somebody's life, keep your eye in what doesn't concern you, because they know before they used to use Christianity and Islam. But now the youth don't listen to that. They used to say we're Africans. They used to say we're Africans. So they have to now say it's the culture. Our culture. Which culture are you talking about?
And who is the custodian of your culture?
Of that culture. Which culture? Our culture has stagnated for 500 years.
Is it the guys who sold all the cultural heritage? That's now the custodian of the culture. Are you getting my point?
These people are crazy, man.
It's a crazy world that is out, and like Shen was saying, we must compulsorily enter into a new era of self-discovery. And the first thing that has to be done is to discover our culture. And if you talk about culture and tradition, language is number one. If you don't speak your language, you don't even have culture in the first place. All of us here are blowing grammar, and we think we have culture. We can't even speak our languages anymore. Because if somebody speaks English now, it makes a wrong pronouncement of a word. Everybody will be insulting the person. But let one Oyibo man come and be speaking Yoruba, they'll be hailing him.
He useless accents. He's the most missing all the words up. They'll still be
we were
hailing him.
school, it used to be like they would write it in front of every classroom in my secondary school. Vernacular speaking is totally prohibited. And what is vernacular? Your
Me
language.
too. When I was growing up in my primary school, you couldn't speak Yoruba.
Yes.
I started speaking Yoruba in school when I became a bad boy in secondary school. Where I was a bad boy. I'm so Yoruba. Speaking Yoruba in school was a sign of defiance.
It was a
when I was growing
crime.
up.
It was a crime.
Yes, because you are showing that you are defying the school authorities when you spoke your language. Me and my friends, when they speak Yoruba like this, makes Charlie hear say, oh, more. Would they speak Yoruba by force for hours inside Nigerian school?
It was a crime to speak Yoruba in Nigerian schools. Even when we went to University of Lagos, if you study Yoruba, you are supposed to lie about it. If you are studying, the University of Lagos used to have Igbo, Yoruba, and I think Hausa. I don't even think they exist anymore in the language. Everybody is now studying Russia and France, and I think there's a Chinese language course now.
Me too. I'm lucky. I'm trying to learn Chinese. Because very soon.
Chinese,
very soon now.
because if you don't learn Chinese, how you go fit sing for China?
Why
There's nothing wrong with being multilingual, but what is wrong is to speak this one English language and be told that to language. And this is because what defines culture the most is language. And if you don't get it right, if you don't understand your language, the likelihood that there's not even a likelihood. How do you understand your culture when you don't understand your language? How do you know the names of the trees around you, the names of items around you? How do you understand your ecosystem when you don't even understand what an Iroko tree is and what obeche is and
We don't
what
even
the
know.
leaves
Our environment is a
and
mystery to us. Mystery.
to us. Exactly.
Complete
How
mystery.
can you grow up in an environment that is not just a mystery to us, they have made it a mystery to us.
Yeah, now it's
Because
deliberate,
the first thing
of
you are
course.
told growing up is that everything around you is evil, including the sacred groves that our parents used to, set up the environment so that you have a great environment.
Preservation.
Yes, they have been doing preservation before climate
We are
change
the original. I
became.
tell them all the time when they come, when I'm on tour, they're like, what do you think of climate change? I said, listen, we are the original green people.
Yes.
You came to us and told us that we are savages.
Yes,
So
because
please,
we are keeping our forests.
I say right now, I'm trying to be civilized. Don't disturb me with this your savage talk. This is savage talk.
Exactly. We understood that we understood climate change a long time ago. We're practicing it. We kept our grooves, so that we understand the environmental equilibrium that was needed between oxygen and carbon dioxide before white man knew how to spell oxygen and carbon dioxide. That's why all those trees and lakes became sacred to us. That's why we don't eat certain fish that eat mosquito. But people didn't know that when you don't eat certain things, it's because you are using them to preserve environment. Because that balance and equilibrium is done by the environment by itself. It's done without interference. The moment you don't interfere with your environment, it will take care of you. But you can't cut down all the trees and then be wondering why there's a high level of asthma in your neighborhood. Because the things that are supposed to clean up your lungs, you are taking them down. You have sold the trees. You
I
have sold
say
them
the
to people in
greed gone.
America. They are
When
using
I
them
was
to make
growing up in
makeup.
Lagos, mango tree everywhere, fruit
Yeah.
tree. That fruit that we call fruit, I don't know what it is called,
Yes.
but we call the fruit.
Yes.
That fruit tree everywhere, mango,
Breadfruit.
orange,
Yes. Yes.
free food. Nobody is hungry. You go to walk over there, you just see orange, you go pluck am, you go peel am, you go to chop am, and they go. The day
Yes.
continue.
Tangerine.
Tangerines everywhere. Now,
Yes.
uncle, they
No.
deliberately cut all those trees. Oh,
Cashew.
deliberately.
Cashew.
Guava.
We
Everywhere
got
there was guava.
all our cashew trees. Now we are buying cashew from China. Because they added salt and curry and thyme to cashew. We call it cashew.
I'm sorry. So sorry, please. Let's not try and derail these things, okay?
No, we're not. Boy, you shoot my balloon.
Thank you. I know. Me too. All right. We'll have the lady. I don't know. You have no name.
Oh, hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Your name, please. Hi. Sorry, at least so we know who's speaking.
You can call me Yuki.
Yuki. Okay. Yeah. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. I'm so happy to be here to be listening to the great talking today. I have a request more than a question, and my request is: can either of SOWORE or Seun Kuti draw me a line, take me on a journey from here to becoming the wealth capital of the world? And this is a delicate mission because you need to anticipate for all the obstacles. For example, if we knew that they were going to send talks during NSAS, maybe we would have approached it differently. And we must also remember that we own the cloud, they own the ground. That's what happened. The youth of Nigeria, we own the cloud, we own the internet space, we own social media, we own everything. That's internet related because we're the one that run it. They own the ground, so they can put their borders on whatever they want there. But we own the cloud, so we can talk to somebody from South Africa, we can talk to somebody from Kenya, we can talk to somebody from Ghana. So I want a detailed journey from here to wealth capital. That means this person should post at so time, and that person should post at this other time. What can we do? How do we use content and AI? Fela, it was music at the last time. In our time, it's content, and content is very powerful. So
Wait, sorry, you can't liberate yourself with content
strategic,
and AI.
intelligent to get to where we need to get to fast, so that by 2027, even the boys, the articles and all the people of our time, they will just say they don't want to run anymore. They don't want to lead us. Don't want government. That's what we want to come to. And
Can I say something? Can I tell you something real quick? Can I tell you something real quick? You can either go far and
Go ahead.
you can either go far or you can go fast. You can't do both. In liberation work, in nation building, and there's no straight line to draw to you from here to being the wealth, whatever, of the world that you are looking for. Africa is already the wealthiest nation continent on the planet. In case you don't know, we're already the wealthiest of people. What is going on is that certain people have removed us from our wealth. Now they have you thinking you have to recreate another wealth other than the wealth you already have. What is it you are looking for? What is the meaning of wealth? Capital. It means that you as African people still are not willing to sacrifice your talent for your own development. Hence, you are thinking you need to create some abstract wealth that you already have in abundance. There's no straight line towards us liberating ourselves in Africa. There will definitely be setbacks. There will be meanderings. There will be going around in circles. But the thing that there must always be is a clear vision. There might be errors in the application of it in certain aspects, but there must be a clear vision. And I would paint it to you real quickly. The relationship between the Nigerian elites, the Nigerian people, and Nigerian resources must first be drastically changed. When we discuss wealth redistribution, many people think you mean you want to take money from one big man and start sharing it in everybody's pocket. No. You have a situation in Nigeria, let me give you an example, where there's an oil well with probably $10 billion worth of oil revenue that can be extracted from that well. These motherfuckers will gather around, issue a license, and sell it to one of their friends in their class. In the so-called business mogul elites, they'll sell it to him for $50 million, something that is worth 10 billion, mind you, to be sold to him for 50 million as a Nigerian to develop his country. Now it is his own. It doesn't belong to us. What is his own idea of that development is that he will call a European and then sell it to that European at the right price of 10 billion. Making a profit of 9.95 billion for himself. And with that 9.95 billion going to education in that community that he extracted that wealth from, building the roads, building their healthcare, employing the youth, creating job centers, the things that billions of dollars should be used for. No, he pockets it and buys a new car and shows it on the internet that you say you control the cloud. You post it there, everybody will be praising him and be asking, why my own father are not so smart? Is that the wealth we are looking to create? What Nigeria needs is simple mass wealth redistribution program, where such shenanigans are not done with Nigerian wealth, where that which is everybody's is used for everybody. I'm not in a world where I want to chase wealth. I'm in a world where I want to restore dignity. That is what is missing in the lives of African people. We don't need more wealthy people. Wealthy people are an anomaly in the world. What the world needs is a world where people have dignity. The resources of Africa is enough to create a dignified existence for every African. I don't do this because I want to be living in the wealth capital of the world. No, I do this because it hurts me when I see African children running around with tattered clothes on the streets. When I see African men having to bend their back and sell their humanity and dignity into these people that are not even worth anything. That African women are reduced to things that can be cheapened into. I don't even want to use the word in a serious conversation like this. The way our women are projected in the world, the way our men are, their entirety is criminalized. You man, even if you get money and you know say you no be thief, you go to feel like thief. You want to do like thief things. You want to do like gangster. You no be gangster. You've earned your money legitimately. You still want to do because you listen. Why I'm in the struggle is probably different from why you're in the struggle, and that does not negate or invalidate your reasons. I'm just saying I cannot give you any trajectory to being any wealth, any goddamn, because that's not why I'm doing this. You know.
But Sean, also, mine was to address his question about NSAS, that we had a cloud and some people had a ground. Actually, we had a ground and also the cloud. But you see, the reason we are back to the conversation we are having tonight is because we always leave our decisions to be made for us by people who don't understand the cloud and who don't understand the ground. When NSAS started, we made it very clear what could work, what would make NSAS a success. And we were the ones who started NSAS. I think when Sheung was traveling, he came back and joined in Ikeja as well. But we were also very clear at that time that the meetings that some NSAS connoisseurs, I'd like to describe them, were having
I don't
with
want to. They will say you are
the
criticizing. I didn't
ruling
want to bring
class.
this up, Pressy. I didn't want to bring this up. Don't.
Yes.
They will
No,
think you are.
I want to clarify that because there were people who were having these meetings with the Dangotes,
I still have the
the
messages on my phone.
yes. So and made and you know they made the NSAS struggle lose the ground. So nobody should come and tell me that NSAS we own the
These
cloud. We
people are
own the
trying to
ground
do protest and separate themselves from poor people.
from protests. Exactly. So
For
you
them,
even
the
after
poor people that went online were not part of
yes,
NSAS. Only they that SARS
yes,
were disturbing had the right to be angry.
yes,
That is why, as soon as these poor people entered the protest and started to tear shit up, it was the same
yes.
NSAS that started to say, "Oh, why are they spoiling the protest?"
This is not what we planned. Mm-hmm. And it's the same NSAS connoisseurs that were informed in advance that the system was coming to deal with the poor people who had now taken over NSAS, the people who had the ground. That was why no one of them was found near the shooting,
That's why I keep
except the
asking.
PPA.
When Army came, where was everybody?
Exactly. So don't let us even go near this. We had the ground in NSAS. Even Buhari said it after NSAS that the security men told him that the way this NSAS has now taken over, they are going to enter your living room very soon. Are you getting my point? But you cannot have a struggle in which some people are commoditizing the struggle and some people are holding ground. And the commoditizers, if there's a word like that, are the ones who want to be on the glossy front page of all the magazines that were claiming that they were the ones who started and ran NSAS,
Where
and they were the
no
ones who wanted to speak
accountability
for
self
NSAS.
at the end of it.
Majority of the people, yeah,
All the money they
majority
made, all
of
these
them,
people, the
majority of the
so-called.
people who were running the NSAS thing never even came to the protest ground. Some of them came only once and spent 30 minutes. but they want to claim ownership of it. And that
All
was
the
what
money
happened.
they raised, say, have young people told them to come and really do account on all that money?
They can never give it. They
Can they
folded the
account on
next
the
day now.
billions? This is
Day
billions,
after,
bro.
I don't even think they lasted 2 days after, 1 day after the shooting. They had all folded. We don't hear of them anymore. So
Where are all those
maybe,
people that collected the money?
yes, all the money disappeared. So we had a ground. I just want to clarify that nobody lost ground. We had a cloud, we had a ground. But as Sharon rightly mentioned, and I want to also reiterate, this idea of becoming the wealth capital of the world is an oxymoron. We already have the wealth, and we're already the capital of the world. As a matter of fact, as a geographer, I tell people, Africa, where we are in Africa, is where the Greenwich Meridian crosses the equator. We are in the center of the world,
Of the center.
geographically speaking. Equator and the Greenwich Meridian passes through Ghana, between Ghana and Nigeria. That is, if you put X, if you put the plus sign over the map of the world, we are at the
X marks
center,
the
and
spot.
that's
Now
where
where we
everybody.
did. Now we
We did where the Greenwich Meridian cross the equator, and there we did. And there cannot be a more strategic place in the world. Are you getting my point? If the world will end today, the likelihood that the only place that will survive in the world is where we are. Because the sun is expanding, and one day it's going to get to the earth. But we are the place where that is unlikely to happen. But that's not necessary conversation for today. But it's just to respond to, and we have spoken about this. Wealth redistribution is a solution to our poverty. Like Shehu mentioned, somebody will get an oil block that has $10 billion worth of oil in it. You sell it to him for 50 million. He doesn't even pay tax to you. He doesn't even pay royalties. He doesn't pay signature bonus that everybody is supposed to pay. If he has to pay signature bonus, it's the federal government that will also be his guarantor to go and collect the loan to come and pay signature bonus. As soon as he gets the loan, he refuses to pay the signature bonus because it's connected. But at the end of the day, he will take that piece of paper to Europe. Europe will buy the OPL from him, the license from him for the amount, and then he will start buying cars. You know that
private
the OPL,
jets.
is it the OPL 245 that has been a control? Do you know that in the last 10 years, they have sold and resold that OPL, the oil cannot finish. They sold to NI, they
Baba no
sold to
vessel. Baba
Shell.
no vessel. Wait. Baba wait.
Yes.
OPL 245. So there's
Yes.
1 to 244 already. OPL
Yes.
1 to 244
Of
daily.
course.
What will never even
The
look
244 days
inside.
now.
No.
No,
Imagine when you go there for
yes.
OPL 230. That kind 230
Or
will
maybe you
bad.
look at the ones that are adjacent to that adjacent and perpendicular to 245. You will imagine the kind of oil we
Just
could get there.
imagine OPL 230. Hey.
Yes. So all these OPLs are there. You understand? And apart from OPL, there's another one. I forget the name because this one is operating license. There's another one. There's another OP. But whatever the OP is, the full name now other people's property. I guess it's not our property. That's why they start the thing with OP. They call them operating license. No, be operating other people's property license. That be the real meaning of OPL. Because it's never for the people of the country. But you imagine OPL alone, the amount of money that's supposed to come to it is enough to put the Niger Delta region to compete better than Amsterdam in terms of the aesthetics of the Niger Delta, just OPL 245. But
How
the
about
person.
Oh, sorry.
But I said in the last 10, it's not even 10, since 20, they have been selling and reselling OPL 245 since Obasanjo came to power, 1999. They had controversy 2003, 2007. The man who they gave this OPL 245 came during since Abacha's time. You can imagine for one oil license to have become so
because
contentious.
how many governments? One.
The number of governments that have been through here 245, it could not reach number of presidents. It started from Abacha to, because Abacha gave it to Etiebet, Abdul Salam collected it, then Obasanjo, no, I think Etiebet and Abdul Salam, they do business with him, they share the profits,
Obasanjo
then Obasanjo collected it, then Yaradua came, restored it, then Jonathan
came.
It was
Wanted to take
Jonathan
it back.
that was trying to share part of it. So they now
They
collected some bribe. Now there way I would look. You get my point. So from there again, that's just been resolved by Miloko now. Miloko has also collected his own. They are restoring it back to NI. Part of it is sold to Shell. You can imagine what is in that OPL for them to keep just selling it. And somebody even just wrote a book about OPL 245. They launched a book last week. You get my point. Even the person who wrote a book about time said, don't become billionaire. Just writing a book about OPL 245. So OPL 245 alone, if it's the only oil block in this country, just OPL 245 is enough to develop the Niger Delta region, to make it have all the infrastructure
and more generally speaking, in terms of manpower,
and to provide employment,
developing our healthcare system, for example, having a plan for a world-class healthcare system for Nigerian people. We are 200 million people, 774 local governments. Do you know the amount of jobs you will create to develop a world-class healthcare system for our people? The drivers of the ambulance, the people that will repair the ambulance, the paramedics, the people that will be picking phone call when they call for emergency. We never even enter the hospital yet. Forget, before you even get to the hospital, the industry around just making sure that healthcare gets to people and people get to the hospital alone. That first responder business, then the nurses, the training of the nurses, the schools that will have to be created, the money that have to be going into training the doctors, what will be happening, the research and development for drugs, the factories we have to build to make some of these drugs locally to reduce the cost so that everybody can get access to these medicines. These are the things I think about when I think about developing my country, not how to put more money in some stupid people's pockets.
So let me even add to you what most people don't even know. There's even an industry called telemedicine, that one alone, where you can have a global healthcare system, where somebody in the UK can also be a Nigerian doctor without living
At the same time, yes, doing a surgery by...
Yes, you heard about the guy that just did surgery in, I think, from Japan to somewhere, I don't know, recently, and he didn't leave. He just sat in front of a screen, maybe an iPhone screen or an Android, and was just doing surgery. So the world has even gone past just because, sometimes they also confuse the public with, in Nigeria, when they say they have a modern and ultra modern hospital, they will just go and buy that body scanner and put it in the reception area. And it's not even a diagnostic machine because you can go and find what they're wrong with you. But that one is more of like an experimental machine. But whenever you see a Nigerian governor, you see he has built a state-of-the-art hospital. He has just bought a body scanner and no doctors. They will just plug it in on the day of the launching. They do it. There was something that happened last week in, Nigeria is comedy. Yaya Bello wanted to apply for passport to travel abroad. That is, because he's undergoing trial for, these are.
I saw it.
These are pre-planned trials. These are comedy trials. So the EFCC went and argued in court that the judge should ask him to go to the hospital he said he built.
Voila. You won't kill him.
And he went to the hospital. So the judge cynically asked him to go to the hospital. Yaya Bello has not gone to, he has not entered the state since that time. It's the same thing that happened to Akpabio. When Akpabio had accident in Abuja, he ran to London. And when he was about to pay for his medical, his card failed. Somebody got me informed about that. We did a story in those days. I was still a roving reporter. And he called me and said, "Why are you reporting? I had an accident. My head nearly broke, blah, blah, blah." And I said, "So what are you doing in London?" He said, "I came for treatment." I said, "How can you come to London? Were you not the one?" He once called me that I should come and inspect the best hospital in Africa that he beat me and fight for. So I reminded him. I said, why didn't you go to that hospital you asked me to come and inspect? He said, "Oh, by the time he left, they did not bring in the doctors." I said, wow, that's interesting.
You did not bring in the
So I
doctor.
never
You
heard of an
invest in
hospital that
training
was
them
built
yourself.
and they forgot to put doctors in it. These guys are jokers.
You
So,
build hospital but forgot to put
an
doctor.
idea
And it's the
of
best hospital.
a modern hospital.
They think it's by building. They think it's the building. Baba, your internet don't
But the
go.
technology that we use in watching soccer now, we can use it to do mass education for our children. It's the same place where they work the English League or the English League. We can convert it to classrooms. Everybody will be learning same classroom because the world has changed. The world has changed and we must change with it. And that's what I was saying before you came, that the idea of Pan-Africanism also has to upgrade with current realities on the ground. But I agree with you that there's nothing to be branded about Pan-Africanism because we're already grounded. We have discussed today how we knew about climate change a long time ago. We have native intelligence, we have medicine, we have culture, we have tradition, we
So
have
I think
religion,
what
we have
some people
language.
think is that when they
Are you
look at
getting
white
my point?
supremacy, when they
So,
look at white
and
supremacy,
it is clear that an average African can learn faster than anyone.
they look at white supremacy and they think maybe Pan-Africanism is the opposite. You understand? That Pan-Africanism is also black supremacy, the way white supremacy is white supremacy. You know, or I don't like to call it white supremacy. It's this white hegemony. Let's call it that. You know.
Yeah.
But Pan-Africanism has nothing to do with domination and exploitation and imperialism. You know, so it's not the opposite of, black power is not the opposite of white power. Black power is something different entirely from the concept of white power. Our people must understand that. What we seek in Pan-Africanism, the values, the goals, the solutions in this thought process, in this worldview, are not even considered. They are not in. You can't imagine it if you are stuck in the Eurocentric white power system. That's why many of our people are stuck, because they just can't imagine a solution or a narrative outside of white supremacy and white power. So that's something that people must understand. Anyway, any other question? Because it's it's 2 a.m., almost 2 a.m. here.
Yes.
Yeah, I love you, Percy, but I gotta go.
I think Chichi, we can be rounding up at this point. Is I don't know if anybody has further questions, but if they do, they can always indicate. But I think we should just
If you
figure
have
out
any more
wrap
questions, I
up
can take
because
one more.
I'm sure Seoul has a lot to do in Europe, and we have a lot to do on the ground here too. So
I'm just tired from a long day, Baba. I've been traveling all morning. I left Bari. I know not. I flew from Bari, but I played in Otranto.
Yeah.
Last night actually.
Well, you know, there are plenty of people who are here from Europe, so you can do free adverts while you're here. Where you playing next?
My next show is sold out. I don't need to advertise. Thanks.
Okay.
Thanks, guys. They don't already buy the ticket. All of them don't buy the before they come the live. They don't buy
You
the
know they
ticket.
flag your internet, so they don't want to make you advertise.
Yeah, Baba, they don't ask you one question. They say, do you want to write a book?
Um, yes. The reason I don't talk about writing a book is because things just keep evolving every day. You know, there are times I would think about starting to write a book, and police will come arrest me, and then I'm like, this book is not ready. So this idea of writing a book is not ready. But I think once you start just putting down and jotting out ideas and putting out some of these stories so that someone else don't end up writing my book for me. So, but I don't want to say too much about it so that when I write the book, you guys will not say that already know all the stories. So life is still evolving, but definitely, I think we just have to do different books at this point, but we have to start from somewhere. Yes, the answer is yes. I was supposed to have commenced a book in 2004 when I returned to the US, you know, but the devil brought me back, and now we have to start all over again.
All right.
Baba Show, you have
Yeah.
dropped from X.
Oh, I dropped from X.
Yes, this is
That's cool.
streaming from Instagram. Yes.
Oh, that's strange. I thought I was still on X.
Questions to him from here.
Okay. If everybody can hear. All right, let's have next questions quickly. Alaba, I'm so sorry. You have been waiting for a while, but please ask your question. Let's make it one, please. Let's make it one.
Yeah,
please.
thank you very much.
So
Thank
sorry.
you. This is Alaba Ferreira of the Movement Radio. Hey, my question is one for Sowore and one for Sheung. For Sowore, somebody once said, and I agree with that person, that the biggest, one of the finest revolutionary work you've done is the establishment of the Sahara Reporter. And I agree with that person because we are now in the age of the internet, and I believe that this internet age is what we are going to use as our weapons against our oppressed people. So my question for you, Sowore, without beating around people, because time has gone, because there were other things I wanted to touch about, the cloud, the land. I wanted to say we didn't have cloud or land. We have weapons pointed on our head. And that all those who are talking about culture, they need to go know our real Omoduabi culture. And all these leftist centuries and all this white man identity they want to put on is not us. Anyway, my question for you, Sowore, is this. I believe we have three problems: collective silence, enemies within, which are our educated people with degrees and PhD, and then the ruiners themselves, which are the big men. So, when you have been fighting the big man, you, Sheung, and all those with big microphone have been fighting the big man. My question is that how do we target the middle ground, those enemies within? You understand? Like for you now, how do we form a coalition of oppressed people by you? How do we establish 20,000 Sahara reporters across every nook and corner of that country so that the message, we can put light into the darkness and bring out and shame the devil that has weaponized poverty in our country? And for Sheung, my question for him is that our people are trying to be like the oppressor. That's what Fela calls zombie. They're trying to be zombie. They are trying to turn to the Night King. Mm-hmm. How can we wake up the zombie? How can we wake up the living dead? That's my question for Sheung, and the other one for Showore. How do we have 20,000 more Sahara reporters? Thank you.
Thank you.
Let me go first, Baba, so that I can run away after this one.
Yeah, I would suggest that you go first.
The good thing about the zombies is that they are very few in number and they are in a minority. I feel the majority of African people know know the truth, and they want something different. They want their country to work. They want everything to, I mean, it even goes in the numbers that we have every time in the election. Over 90 million Nigerians are registered to vote. Every time they do their show, how many come out to participate? Because people are disillusioned. Most people are disillusioned with the lies and the corruption, So there's also an esoteric angle to say that the people eye will open also when the people eye must open. We must understand that there will be an ancestral timing that none of us can change. I believe that everything we are going through as a country, every step of it, everything we are going through as a continent, every experience we are going through all over the world as African people, at home and in the diaspora, are lessons that we must learn. And we must learn this so that it never happens again. And we are still learning. Maybe we'll never learn and where. I think this is a learning process, spiritually speaking, for me, But I believe that the people that want our country to be good, majority of the working class and poor people, are on the side of our country being good. It is the professionals where we have a large number, who do not give to their nation as they should. They rather give to church, give to mosque, check after pastor, imam, and but that dedication to nation that should be part of their psyche as so-called educated people, as you rightly pointed, every identity they want to embrace are identities that negate their African responsibility. Many of them want to do this revolution. They want to outsource their liberation. Revolution by proxy. They don't want to be engaged, in that conversation, in that work, So I feel like as time is going, this is not something that anybody can say, wait there. No, nobody has that. But I think Africa itself will wake its people up. The suffering they are suffering will be waking them up. And at the right time, those two things will converge to create the mass awakening that is necessary for liberation work. I mean, there are like 383 people on this thing now in this life. How many of them are donating to our political parties this week? How many of them are going to donate to our political party this week? Because these things that people want to see happen, this awakening, this mass education, all these things, is not free. It's not just going to happen because we are fighting for freedom. Doesn't mean the things that will bring it are free. We work in a world where people still need to be mobilized and this one and that one. So yeah, I feel as time is going on, people will be seeing the importance of their own participation in their liberation. And towards that work that we're all doing together, a mass awakening will come about, But I don't think it's overnight.
Well, Sean, let me take it from where you stopped, which is that if people of Africa are currently investing in their enslavement, we must also transition into investing in our liberation. It is Sunday already, and I'm sure some of the
Billions.
people, yes, they are preparing as we're speaking, they're shining their shoes, ironing their clothes to go and give money
Billions
to
back.
people who will make sure that they don't live a great life. People who have outsourced their well-being or the real life they should live to oblivion, cosmos, I argue a lot with our Christian brothers and sisters that even by the standard of their Bible, God was living somewhere before He created earth and heaven, or heaven and earth, according to them. But if He wanted people to live in heaven, He wouldn't have created the earth. And the Bible they carry around is very clear. It said in Yoruba, it said, Erupẹ. That means the moment you die, you become matter. That is gas. Part of you will be gas. That's the first to escape. And then the second aspect will be liquid. Your body will start dissolving, and then there will be solid, which is the bones that will be left, which is what keeps the earth strong. Your Bible already said that. So why is anybody deceiving you that somebody is going to wake you up and all of you will be 30-year-olds and you are going to rise into the space? If people who die rise into the space, planes will be crashing into everybody that's going to heaven every day. The skies will not be safe. But it is how people invest in their enslavement. Now it's time to invest your energy, your expertise, and your commitment to your liberation. That is the question Alaba was asking about how we can mobilize the middle class. But my worry is that the moment you call somebody middle class, you have also placed them in a place where they don't want to have responsibility, because to be a middle class now. So I am not
working people. Now they call them working people.
exactly.
And professionals.
But so that they classify as middle class. A middle class no dey anywhere. Middle class na person where they use credits to live in life, but you never pay the money back. That's the people they call middle class. The real working class people are not necessarily classified as middle class, because a farmer who is working is a working class person. Even a banker where they work is but the moment you start classifying them like that, you are already creating the confusion that we are trying to correct. But to Ferrera's question about how can we create 1,000 of Sahara reporters, you see, our enemies are not using Sahara reporters alone to attack us. So we cannot have one single strategy to get back at our enemy. There has to be Sahara reporters, there has to be some other activities, boots on the ground, offline, or online, anywhere we can meet them and take care of that very dangerous political classes where we must go. When I started Sahara Reporters, people didn't believe in it. And Alaba will know this because I used to beg all the journalists that are in the diaspora to come and be in Sahara Reporters to help me. They say, which kind of thing with that? Which time internet go reach Nigeria? I don't get time for you, Sahara Reporters is 19 years old now. But I realized also that there's a limit to which you can rely on media alone to solve your problem. And over-reliance on media, whether it's conventional, social, or electronic, is also another, plan to fail. So that's why after a while, I also moved away from that as a sole strategy. This strategy has to be multidimensional because we are also in multidimensional poverty. So there must be a multidimensional strategy to get us out of the multidimensional crisis that we are in. I would love to see more Sahara reporters, no doubt about it. But the reason why Sahara Reporters was created was to create that education and information blast that could help people contextually look at the problem and understand them faster than you will if you are reading a story from a newspaper that says that somebody was killed and the name of the person who was killed is undisclosed and the person who killed him is undisclosed. You don't go feel understand. So but Sahara Reporters will cut through all that chase and tell you who they kill and who killed him and the person where no one investigate him. But that's, again, a very interesting question. But we are here now, and all of us should start working together. That discovery that we need, that intersection and interface that we need to come to a final agreement that liberation work has started is what we must start in discussing on a regular basis. And I am going to thank Sheon once again, even though you came late. It was as if we planned our conversation before you arrived. and I really enjoyed the interaction that we had today. And I hope
But when you get good rapport normally now, Presti.
now, but you know,
You
where I
have
see you
good
last.
vibe.
I know you and I we come a long way, and don't tell where I see you last. And I wish you the best there in doing what you know how to do best. And I hope our brothers and sisters in Europe will come and watch and hear the real music. People are looking for music as a weapon. The weapon in your mouth, and
Yes, so
we're always happy to have you there representing that particular area for us.
thank you,
Thank you,
Presti.
everyone, for coming. I don't know if there are more questions or you have closing statements, but it's been an amazing outing today. I want to thank Chichi and other moderators here today. Those who have stayed with us since we started and didn't leave. Amazing. Even though Nigeria was playing today, the number did not drop below 200 throughout this almost 3 or 4 hours of interaction here today. It's amazing. I want to thank everyone and our engineers, including Thaniel, who is with me here, broadcasting to all over the world. We have like almost 5 or 6 platforms that we're broadcasting to. Hope to see you guys again, and we urge you not to relent. Spread the message, knock on doors, take the clouds, and also don't lose the ground. Thank you so much.